Okay, so just wanted to do a really quick screencast heading into our meeting later today and sort of just kind of recapping where we are, getting this campaign fixed, and then ideas for the future. What we're looking at now is a tool called Pivotal Tracker. To show a little bit of context, this is sort of where we also track a lot of our other backlogs. So this is the core engineering technology backlog, all the efforts that my team's working on. Our product backlog, so specific product features for Safety Web and MyID. You can see things in here like sample page reports, infosec things, billing considerations for the product, etc. So we went ahead and created a product backlog, or just a backlog for marketing. And this is kind of going to be the central source of record, I think, if everybody agrees to this sort of approach, from outcomes and to-dos from meetings, email communications, and things like that. These items are stack ranked in priority. You can see things that have already been completed. Right now, Jennifer Tan and Jane Yu, everybody on my team obviously has access to this. We can add people as needed. And this is also a good way, because everything's stack ranked in priority, you can see what's in process. If we start something, they change color, different things like that, you can see everything that's done. So we can see what's in progress. It'll help planning for timing, set expectations for turnaround, deliverables, and different things like that. So taking a quick look, again, a perfect example is jumping into the Bing tracker email, Bing and Google Pixel tracking on the receipt page. This was done and pushed out to production. We have that one. This was information from Jane's email from last night about the S code. Alex fixed that and pushed it out. Giving CK access to Omniture, Jane took care of that. You can see people's initials assigned to each one for who's responsible for each thing. Heading into today's meeting, I think we'll just walk through this. The biggest thing for that meeting is sort of the disconnect, I think, on getting everybody on the same page of the access to the different SiteCat instances, so production versus QA versus dev, or what that looks like, and how to QA it end-to-end. Again, I think I made a naive assumption that for us, we have our main backlogs, obviously, for our core technology, our Safety Web and MyID products. And in helping with launching these types of campaigns, sort of naively believed that just kind of coordinating via email, my team being responsible for pretty tactically just putting in pixels and JavaScript tracking, which we've done in the past, and then launching those things as needed. One, coordinating and communicating via email in that fashion was naive, so using a tool like this will help. But now understanding that if the expectation is to QA end-to-end, not just placing the tracking information and letting you guys know that it's there, but also being able to go in and help QA it. It's just making sure that we have access to those tools and educating us on it. So even if it's most likely that Jane already set up access for it, but no one here is familiar with how to go in and QA and do those different things. So there's a bit of an information gap on that sort of vertical slice of placing pixels, placing JavaScript stuff, and launching it, which is a pretty quick turnaround for us to do. And then creating QA scenarios and logging back in and verifying that. So that's our biggest blocker that we want to get through in the meeting. And then just each QA item specifically called out. So this is an email about some Marin parameters. This is actual conversions, so going through to the receipt page, going back, knowing how to log into the QA and non-production environment, verifying that. This is just sort of an audit task that I put in here. I think this will take very little time of auditing those pixels that we know we've already placed, but just want to go back through it again. The search QA, this is from an email that Jane sent the other night. You can see the screenshots that she placed in an email about what the expectation is and what the issues are around QAing and verifying that sort of piece of it. And I think that brings up another point. Again, if we're going to be pulled into that sort of end-to-end piece, which is fine, it makes sense, and we'll just have to figure out what that impact is on expectations for dates and timelines and turnarounds. There's going to be a bit of an education on our team. We've historically used just Google Analytics and worked with rigs on that sort of stuff of placing pixels and JavaScript snippets, and then he takes care of everything downstream. So if we need to go into those tools to understand the impacts, the full vertical slice, there's going to be some education and spin up on my team and questions like the one from Jane of why, if it's supposed to work that way, how do we verify it and do these different things. Creating 5 to 10 promo codes for CK. The call center, this is a placeholder for turning over customer support to Arkansas. It's supposed to happen on the 16th. And then once that's done, the 1-800 numbers and hours of operations that we initially ripped out of the landing pages, make sure that we add those back with the new 800 numbers. So this is sort of our active prioritized list for the backlog today from the emails that I went through this morning and meeting notes. notes. Other stuff is SEO recommendations from CK that we're implementing, and Strange Logic is implementing. Some test and target stuff, the kickoff meetings that were scheduled. And then the last one at the bottom of the list is the generic landing pages. We started off with implementing 2. We have the creative for the other ones, so just eventually planning and figuring out how to set expectations for when we'll roll out those next 8. So again, just wanted to summarize. This kind of gives a highlight of heading into today's meeting. The biggest one, I'll summarize in a bullet point list as well, but just helps to talk through it, is the access and the expectation of, okay, what am I looking for once I get into these tools and what's happening, because there's a level of education for our team who historically just places pixels in JavaScript code and can deploy it pretty quickly and have turnaround cycles, which if now we're doing the full breadth of it, I think those cycles will be slower, and we'll need to get kind of ramped up and educate ourselves on what that means end to end. And then just kind of walking through some of these other items. Thanks.